My name is Elias Watts. This is my informational interview for Career Search, and I'm interviewing a nurse. What's my nurse's name?
Nasima.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the first question here. My first question is, what is the dress code being a nurse?
So typically in a healthcare setting, the doctors, nurses, or medical assistants, everyone would have to wear scrubs and non-slip shoes.
Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. That was a little bit of a short one there, but the next question is there flexibility as far as work hours or working off sites?
So there is a flexibility on picking on the days or times you would want to work, but as far as the hours, the times are set. So for example, if you want to work a morning shift, you would have to work from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and you can't adjust those times. And working off sites is not really permitted unless you are working in a different location that is a healthcare environment.
Okay, that's awesome. My next question for you is, if your job progresses as you like, what would be your next step in your career?
So my next steps in my career are to hopefully become a travel nurse. And as a travel nurse, you not only work in your location or a nearby location, but you could also travel to different states and even outside of the country.
All right, that's awesome. So, my next question for you is going to be, how has your job affected your lifestyle since college?
So after college, my life has been really busy since I've been mainly focused on picking up more shifts. And although I've not had enough time for my personal life, I do enjoy the busy lifestyle and have learned to adapt to it.
All right. And also, so I do know you personally, and I know you did get really good grades in high school. But how important are grades for obtaining a job in this field?
So grades are very important in obtaining a job in this field, but it's not also just about the grades that you get, but it's also about the type of classes that you take. So if you are taking a more challenging, for example, science or math classes, they would generally want you to be getting high grades in them. But if it is, again, a high level class, um, getting around a B would be fine for that as well.
All right. And so, my next question for you is, what special advice do you have for students seeking to qualify for this position? Like, do you think they should get into internships, or they should start forming relationships, or what do you think they should do?
So yeah, I think internships are a very good start to students who are looking for a position in this healthcare environment, but also mainly is to maintain good study skills and to maintain good grades in school, because that is what's going to help you pass your exams, which is going to ultimately lead you to getting a license in a healthcare position.
Awesome. So, my next question for you is, what abilities or personal qualities do you believe contribute most to success in this field?
So, organization is the biggest key quality that you would need, because if you're not organized with your work or your time, you're going to get a lot of work and piled up, and you won't be having enough time to manage and balance a lot of extra stuff that you would need in
Mm-hmm.
this career.
And also, would you say like your talking skills and your conversational skills play a really big role?
Yes, of course, having good communication skills and with other people, not also your peers and friends and classmates, but also your teachers and professors, because they're the ones who are going to help you learn and get your education. And if you're able to communicate with them well, then they're generally going to want to help you and guide you through your journey to this field.
Awesome. And the next question is, you've kind of answered this a little bit in the previous questions, but what is the best way to enter this occupation?
So the best way to become a nurse or any related occupation to a nurse is to finish your high school years and to get a high school diploma and get into a 4-year college. Your major does not matter as much, but if you are looking forward to go into a healthcare or a medical field, you would generally want to take a biology major or any science related majors, so you can already get a heads up on what the workload and what the material will be looking for. And ultimately after that is to be going to med school or nursing school.
All right, that's
And
awesome. Oh yeah. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
And although you're going into science related majors or maybe math, because that
Mm-hmm.
is also a big part in the medical field, but you would also need to be taking good care and good precautions in your other classes, such as like history and English, because those are very important as well.
Okay, and also for anyone, I'm sure this would vary from school to school, and I know that you live in Virginia, but over there, would you say there's any like certain clubs or extracurricular activities that would help advance someone in this field?
So yeah, in high school, I know as well that there's a lot of medical clubs, such as HOSA, which is a healthcare club, and there's also a lot of special different classes that I don't know if you guys have that in Minnesota, but in Virginia we have a lot of academy classes, which are
Hmm.
classes that different schools provide. Um, like healthcare based classes such as dentistry, nursing, medical assistant, and they provide more in depth learning. And there's also a lot of volunteer clubs that can help provide you with simple healthcare and medical related tasks. And yeah.
And this is also another kind of off-topic kind of question, but do you think some like facts classes would help prepare you or help you find the interest in this career?
Sorry, facts?
Yeah, like family education.
Of course, because in a healthcare position, you're not only going to be treating or working with patients, but you're also going to be needing to know how to speak with their families, their relatives, because that's also a important part when going into the medical field.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question here. The next question is, which parts of your job do you find the most exciting?
So the parts of my job, which is a nurse, I find most exciting is the one-on-one patient care and really getting to know my patients outside of just their medical experience and medical history, and also watching my patients like evolve and heal from whatever they have been admitted to or just anything that I've been helping them with.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really nice job. So this is also another off topic question, but do you really enjoy helping people?
I really do enjoy helping people. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to go into the medical field, because I just found a lot of joy in helping people with whatever they need, whether it's small or big. And yeah.
So for my next question, this is also another off-topic one, but do you think, like for the morality kind of side of being a doctor or a nurse, do you think like it really weighs a heavy toll on your mental health, like seeing a lot of people die or a lot of sick people and all the risks being in the healthcare space?
So yeah, typically going into a healthcare profession, that is one of the big parts that they would teach you about and how you can deal with it and cope with it. And everybody deals with death and everything differently, but obviously it would have a big impact on those who are starting off and as a new um, nurse or as a new doctor or anything, or just new in the healthcare profession. But over time, um, you're gonna really develop and realize that what you've been doing is the best that you can, and you are trying to help everyone, but you can't just help everyone.
Yeah. So why did this wait, let's go ahead and take. All right, someone entered the room, so I had to pause. I'm sorry about that. So let's go ahead and get back to this conversation. And my next question coming up is, what are the salary ranges?
So the salary ranges for a nurse or a RN in Virginia range from about 72,000 to 117,000.
Okay, that's awesome. And also, this might be a little personal question. You don't have to answer it if you want, but how much do you get paid?
So starting off, it is generally about 68 for me, but it really would depend on what you would specialize. But especially since I'm a new nurse, it would typically be underneath the salary ranges.
All right, awesome. So let's go ahead and get on to the next question here. So my next question is going to be this is our second to last question, by the way, in case you had to go anywhere. So So why did this type of work interest you, and how did you get started?
So this type of work interested me because I always knew that I wanted to be somewhere in the medical field. However, I didn't want to go through the long route of medical school, which is generally 4 years, but would typically be longer with what you would specialize. So it could take up to 14 years. And I also chose to be a nurse because being a nurse is mainly focused on the patient care and
All right, sorry about that. My brother had walked into the room. Sorry. So, would you keep going there? You ended off on I didn't want to take the long route and go to med school, I believe.
yes. So med school usually takes about 4 years and go up to all the way to 15 years, typically based off of what you would specialize in. And I mainly wanted to become a nurse and went through I'm currently going through nursing school is because being a nurse not only teaches you about the actual medical components and the biological components of science.
All right. So my next question is, I heard you say med school could usually take from 4 to 15 years, and this is also a side question because I'm a little underknowledged in the medical field. But with the top
Okay.
15 year kind of years to take in school, is that like neurosurgeons and things like that?
Yeah, so typically it would be neurology or also anesthesiology, which is
Mm.
now the highest paying job, which is one of the most important parts in surgery, regardless of any specialization. So that is typically why it'll take that many years.
All right, now we're gonna move on to our last and final question. So tell me about a typical day being a nurse.
So a typical day in my lifestyle as being a nurse, I apologize. So So what a typical day would look like in my job as a nurse would be I would get to work around 3 p.m. and the first thing I would do is I would check the charting that the last shift has done to check if there's anything that looks unusual, and typically it would be no unless their vital signs would look so wrong. So typically when I would get there is around 3 p.m. and the first thing I would do is I would check the charting from the last shift, and then I would go do a round of vital signs, which is taking their blood pressure, pulse, respirations, temperature, and yeah, all the stuff like that. And then what I would do is I would go to the doctor or another nurse that was from last shift and see if they need any of their medications. And if they do, then I would go ahead and give them their medications. And after that, I would check if they have any surgeries or if they have any discharges or new admissions. And after that, we would just go through any of the plans that the doctor has for the patients throughout the day.
Awesome. And would you say I'm not sure how the hospital that you work at would like, deal with this, but how do you like how do ER patients like transfer over into what you do as a nurse?
So, since I'm not an ER nurse, I'm just a regular admissions nurse.
Oh.
So, what would happen? So, since I'm not an ER nurse and I'm a general nurse, what would typically be done down in the ER is once that patient is stable or somewhat stable, then they would send them up to my floor, and then we would continue with a new round of vitals just to make sure that nothing looks unusual. And if there is something that looks off, I would report it to the doctor or take them up for X-rays or anything that I could do to help.
All right, so that's gonna be the end of our segment here, and also, if you're watching this, my teacher, this is my aunt, so that's why if you might have heard any little giggles, this is my aunt, and it's a little bit of an unserious relationship. So yeah, I was just making a disclaimer. So that's all our questions here, and I just have one more question for you. How do you like it being a nurse?
So, me, I generally really like being a nurse because I love the patient interactions because a doctor typically doesn't have that type of relationships with their patients. They would generally just do what they need to do, quick in and out. And I like the nurse aspect of my job because, yeah, I just really love the patient communication and talking with people and getting to know about their lives outside of the healthcare and medical talk.
Awesome, and that's gonna be it. Thanks for stopping in and being able to help me with my interview.
Of course, allies.